Imagine a man standing beneath a canopy of stars, the desert stretching endlessly around him, silence broken only by the rustle of wind against the sand. The night sky is vast, overwhelming, filled with countless points of light. Yet to this man, each star whispers of promise, destiny, and faith. He has left behind his homeland, his family, and the gods of his ancestors, driven by a voice that calls him to walk a path no one has walked before. This man is Abraham, the patriarch whose journey laid the foundation for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the world's great monotheistic faiths. His story is not only of one man, but of a covenant that reshaped human history, a faith that turned hearts toward the belief in one God. The story of Abraham is more than biography. It is myth, history, and spiritual revelation intertwined. To Jews, he is Avraham Avinu, Abraham our father, the first to enter covenant with God. To Christians, he is the model of faith, whose trust in divine promise prefigured the coming of Christ. To Muslims, he is Ibrahim, the prophet who surrendered to God's will and rebuilt the Kaaba with his son Ishmael. Across traditions, Abraham is a figure of obedience, courage, and vision, one whose journey from Ur of the Chaldeans to the Promised Land reflects humanity's quest for meaning, order, and divine relationship. Abraham's story unfolds in a world of many gods, tribal loyalties, and ancient civilizations. Yet from this polytheistic environment arose a revolutionary idea: the belief in one God, transcendent yet personal, infinite yet intimate. Abraham's journey is not simply geographical, it is spiritual, a movement from chaos to covenant, from doubt to faith, from wandering to belonging. This is the story of how Abraham's journey shaped the course of human history and laid the cornerstone for monotheism. Abraham was born Abram in Ur of the Chaldeans, a bustling city in Mesopotamia. Ur was a place of towering ziggurats, elaborate rituals, and devotion to many gods, chief among them the moon god, Nana. Religion was woven into daily life, with idols representing divine presence in homes, temples, and marketplaces. Yet Abram felt a call, a restlessness that pulled him beyond the gods of stone and clay. According to Jewish tradition, he smashed the idols of his father Terah's household, rejecting the lifeless images of wood and stone. Whether taken as literal event or symbolic legend, the act captures the essence of Abram's vision. That divinity was not to be found in images, but in the unseen, the eternal, the one. The call came, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." Leaving Ur, Abram journeyed northward with his family to Haran. Here, at the crossroads of empires, Abram's destiny unfolded. The God who called him was unlike the gods of Mesopotamia. This God made promises of land, descendants, and blessing, a covenant that would ripple across generations. The essence of Abraham's story lies in covenant. A covenant is not simply a contract, but a sacred bond, sealed in faith and trust. God promised Abram that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars, that he would be the father of nations, and that through him all peoples of the earth would be blessed. Abram, in turn, was called to trust. Trust when he was told to leave his homeland. Trust when he wandered through unfamiliar lands. Trust when famine drove him to Egypt. And trust when he was childless, yet promised countless descendants. Faith was not passive acceptance, it was active obedience, a willingness to step forward into uncertainty, guided by unseen assurance. When Abram was 99, God renewed the covenant, changing his name to Abraham, meaning father of many. His wife Sarai became Sarah, and though they were old, the promise of a child would be fulfilled. Isaac was born, laughter filling the household of a couple who once despaired of heirs. The covenant of circumcision marked Abraham's descendants as a people set apart, bound to God not by idol or temple, but by faith and obedience. This covenant would define the Jewish people, echo through Christian theology, and find new expression in Islamic tradition. Abraham's journey was not without conflict. In Egypt, he faced the dangers of deception and survival. In Canaan, he negotiated with kings and engaged in battles to rescue his kin. These episodes highlight Abraham not only as a man of faith, but as a leader navigating the realities of ancient Near Eastern life. When Lot, his nephew, was taken captive, Abraham gathered men and pursued the captors, securing Lot's freedom. Upon his return, he encountered Melchizedek, the mysterious king-priest of Salem, who blessed him with bread and wine. This enigmatic figure became a symbol of divine priesthood, later woven into Christian interpretation as a foreshadowing of Christ. Through these events, Abraham's faith was tested not only in private devotion, but in public action. His covenant with God demanded engagement with the world, justice, leadership, and trust amidst the uncertainties of politics and survival. The most dramatic and unsettling moment of Abraham's journey is the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. God commanded Abraham to take his beloved son, the child of promise, and offer him as a sacrifice. The narrative is stark, filled with silence and tension. Abraham rises early, gathers wood, and walks with Isaac to Mount Moriah. Isaac, carrying the wood, asks, "Where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham replies, "God himself will provide the lamb." On the mountain, Abraham binds Isaac and raises the knife, only to be stopped by an angel at the final moment. A ram, caught in the thicket, is offered in Isaac's place. The test is complete. Abraham's faith is proven, his obedience unwavering. This story has echoed through centuries, interpreted as the ultimate act of faith, a foreshadowing of sacrifice in Christian thought, and a lesson of submission in Islamic tradition. It is not only a test of Abraham's loyalty, but a revelation of God's nature, one who does not desire human sacrifice, but values faith, trust, and life itself. In Islam, Ibrahim, is honored as a prophet and messenger, a model of submission, Islam to God's will. The Quran recounts his rejection of idols, his debates with his people, his willingness to sacrifice his son, interpreted as Ishmael by Islamic tradition, and his role in building the Kaaba with Ishmael in Mecca. Each year during the Hajj, Muslims retrace Abraham's steps, commemorating his faith, his sacrifice, and his devotion. The festival of Eid al-Adha honors his willingness to obey God, a reminder that true faith is surrender to the divine. Through Abraham, Islam affirms continuity with earlier revelations while emphasizing absolute monotheism, making him a unifying figure across Abrahamic faiths. Abraham's story did not end with his death. It lives on in the faiths that claim him as patriarch. Judaism sees in him the first covenant. Christianity sees the model of faith fulfilled in Christ, and Islam sees the prophet of pure monotheism. Together, these traditions encompass more than half of humanity, all tracing spiritual lineage to one man who walked by faith. His journey embodies themes universal to human experience, leaving behind the familiar, trusting in unseen promise, enduring trials, and shaping the destiny of future generations. Abraham's life reminds us that faith is not certainty but trust, not possession but journey, not mere ritual but relationship. Standing again beneath the stars, one can almost hear the ancient promise, "Look up at the sky and count the stars. If indeed you can count them, so shall your offspring be." Abraham believed, and that belief became the seed of monotheism, the cornerstone of covenant, and the heartbeat of three great world religions. His journey, from Ur to Canaan, from doubt to faith, from chaos to covenant, remains one of the most influential stories ever told. It is the story of how one man's obedience to a divine call reshaped humanity's understanding of God, establishing a faith that continues to inspire, challenge, and unite across millennia.